Hi, this is Rajeshwari. Welcome back to a new concept called HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System. So in this we are going to learn about the importance of the HDFS, how to store data from local system to Hadoop system, how to retrieve data from HDFS to local system. We are going to learn it by two interfaces. One is command line interface, one more is a Java interface. Okay. Design of Hadoop file system. Basically, what is a Hadoop file system? Because from the last videos, repeatedly I am saying that in order to store your data, we need a Hadoop distributed file system, which contain two elements. One is a name node, one is a data node. Name node will maintain a directory, or we can say it is a metadata, data about data. Wherever data, who is the owner of the data, when is the data is created, where the data is started, how many data nodes are working. So everything is going to be at one place called as a name node. One more is a data node where actual data is going to store. Okay, so what is the Hadoop? Hadoop distributed file system was developed using distributed file system concept. It runs on commodity hardware. Next, it is mainly useful for fault tolerant with the low cost hardware. HDFS holds very large amount of data, that is nothing but the big data, we know about that. Next, of course, whenever it is a distributed system, means the data is going to stand in multiple systems in a distributed manner, that may be in the cloud, clusters, etc. etc. So these files are stored in redundant fashion. I repeatedly saying that the HDFS will store your every copy of data in three places. One is a local storage at same system whenever we have a processor in the same rack. Maybe system is different but in the same rack. But one more is the same, different places at all, not at all very near. Okay. Why these three replicas is, if one is lost, one may be there. If second one is all lost, third one will be there. So whenever we are going to using the third one, automatically there is a recovery of first and second copies. Recovery are going to replacing the new ones with the 1 and 2. So that the availability, high availability is the main feature of the HDFS. So in order to make this high available, we should maintain multiple copies of the same data at different locations. Okay. Now, HDFS also makes applications available to parallel. You know about this. So this is the main architecture of the HDFS. If you observe here, there is a name node which contains the metadata, the name, replicas, the folders, path, inputs, the number of users, which user using which data, etc. etc. Here we have some data nodes. If you observe, we have some data nodes. Each data node contains multiple splits. It is not at all a constant number. This data node contains 3 splits, this one 2, this one 2, this one 4, this one 3, maybe depends, it depends upon your requirement. We can use, the client can read the data, can write the data. So all the data nodes are available at rack 1. Here we have 2 data nodes at the rack 2. So these 2 are replicates, see, these 2 are replicas. So one copy is at the one rack and another copy is at another rack. That is going to maintain by HDFS architecture. So what the HDFS contains, as I said previously, the name node which contains all the data recording the data nodes, the splits of your data, the locations, the user permissions, the user names, paths, etc. etc. A data node is nothing but where actual data is going to store. It contains n number of nodes. There is no limit at all. Based upon the user requirement nowadays, based upon the big data generating, the data nodes can be unlimited. Very important concept is secondary name node. For example, we have only one name node, but we have multiple data nodes. If there is any problem we got in the name node, means whenever there is a failure in the name node, automatically the total data whatever we have at the name node will collapse. As it is a metadata which contains all data information, means the user data, location of the splits, paths, all data will be erased. So now to overcome from that problem, they are going to use a new name called as a new node called as secondary name node. Secondary name node is nothing but a Xerox copy of the name node, but not original. Whenever there is any problem facing with the name node, automatically the secondary name node will up and will take care of all the transactions. But meanwhile, between the collapsing of the name node and getting a new node, secondary name node, that time period is very important. If it is a more time, automatically the transactions what we are going to do is not going to note it anywhere. The total transactions are deleted. You are not going to get the data. So in order to minimize that, they are going to maintain the 2 name nodes with the same transactions. whenever there is an updation in the system, total system, distributed system, those updations have to carry in both name node and the secondary name node without any delay. Because if there is any problem here, automatically we can start with secondary name node and we can continue our transactions. HDFS concept, as I said previously, everything is going to process in terms of a block only. The minimum size is 64 MB, maximum size is US requirement. Okay. So HDisk has block size, which is a minimum amount of data that can be read or write. So at a time we can read or write. Generally we used to maintain, previously, not now, around the 1990s, the block size is 512 KB, but nowadays the block size is 64 MB. Why we need a bigger block size? The one reason is big data. The second is the seek time. See, for example, you are going to store in commodity hardware in a 512 KB and my program is 1 GB. My program is going to run in 1 GB of data. Automatically, how many times I have to get 512 KB from the disk? The seeking, tracing and getting back the data will take around 3 seconds of time. So for n number of 512 KBs to reach 1 GB, we can't estimate the time waste in transactions. In order to overcome that, they are going to store the big size of block at one place, so that we can easily trace out that is a big block and we can get access. Why is a block in HDFS so large? I repeat, because the transfer time is greater than seek time. So getting 512 KB of data for 1 GB, if you divide that, how many splits you have to get from the hard disk? If you are able to find out the location of your split, that is good. That is one second. But if you want to get in terms of 512 KB each time for total 1 GB data, the total transfer time is going to be more and more. In order to work on that, we are going to use big size of block in terms of 64 KB. The HDFS high availability. See, high availability with the maintenance of the two systems is not enough. Means, for example, unfortunately, when there is a calamity occurred in whatever cloud we are going to maintain, if these two systems are gone, what happened? We should hands up because we are not able to get our total data. So in that cases, we need some mechanisms in order to overcome from these problems. Okay, so what the author want to convey is, as a name node is a single point of failure, we should get our data back. In order to do this, what we are going to do is to recover from a failed name node. In this situation, an administrator starts a new primary name node with one of the file system metadata replicas, but it will take time. The new name node is not able to serve request until it has, I repeat. So in the last just a few seconds back, I said there is a gap between the loading of total data or getting start a new name node. That is a time taking process. Until then, whatever transaction we are going to do is not going to store anywhere. Okay, we are totally in collapse nature. So what is the time it is going to take? What transaction is going to done between this gap, that is down from the first one and the getting up from the second one? See, it have to load the namespace image into memory. Whatever the metadata we have to store in the memory. Next, replace edit log, where we started and where we end up the data. From the end of the time to, we have to start from the very next second from the end. And finally, received enough blocks report from the data nodes to relieve safe mode. So what if the transactions done by the data nodes till now up to the problem with the primary name node? The updates are available at the data nodes itself. We have to get the updates from the data node. Those updates have to update at the namespace itself, new namespace. Thereafter we can start our transaction, right? So it will take around 30 minutes of time. That is enough. If a cloud is not able to run for 30 minutes of time totally for total world, just imagine the situation, the worst situation. Now what we have to do? What is the architectural changes we have to do is nothing we have to do. We have to create one more. We have to maintain everything. We have to check the updates. Is there any problems? Okay, nothing but we can do. So for this we have for this we have they want to maintain fencing and the failover concepts. What is a failover is whenever there is a problem with the system, automatically it will check it out. The checking is nothing but the failing is over. Now we have to check the remedy, not to overcome from your failures. What is the fencing is, instead of checking the failures, we should be precautionary. We should take some preventive measures so that the failure will not happen. That is a fencing. Okay. See, what is a failover? The transition from the active name node to the standby is managed by new entity in the system called the failover controller. So present whatever the active name node is there, if there is any problem with that, we have to take the transition from this node to by new entity by using failover. It is responsibility of this. But even though we have failover controller, the time taken to transfer it will take more. Automatically we have to bear for this lapse time. Okay. So we have two types of failovers. One is a graceful, one is a ungraceful. We will check it out. So graceful is nothing but, for example, whenever trains are checking, they are going to be manual maintenance. Means in every 3 days of time they used to check every train engine whether it is working properly or not. Okay, so this is called as a graceful failover. See, failover may also be initiated manually by an administrator in the case of a routine maintenance. Okay, this is called as a graceful failover. And ungraceful failover is whenever there is a problem occur, thereafter we have to get what is happened, who is failed, why it is failed, blah blah blah. In case of ungraceful failover, however, it is impossible to be sure that the failed name node has stopped, and we don't. Fencing is a precautionary. I said the HA implementation goes to go great lengths to ensure that the previously active name node is prevented from doing any change and damage, causing corruption. A method called as it will take it off. The system employs a range of fencing mechanisms, including what the fencing mechanism means. We have to get the prevention means killing the name node process. If it is going to give some correct data, we should kill. Revoking after any problem. Disabling its network port via remote means whatever the transaction is going to be done by the user will not able to save automatically because we are going to disabling all the network configuration. Command line and Java interface, very important. It's a very easy one also. Command line means by using command line we used to execute our code, HDFS code. Here we have to place our data to the HDFS. Here we have to take back the data also. Okay. In order to do this, we are going to do this. So if HDFS is executed in one machine, then it is called as pseudo distributed mode. Here we have to get a point called as what distributed mode means. The HDFS is somewhere, we are somewhere. The pseudo mode means we are here and our HDFS is also in our system only. At that case, there is no need of replicas here. There is no full path availability. We will check it out. See this diagram if you are able to understand. See common is a library one, right? With collection of libraries we have. The default name is they have given. The standalone system means normal system is there without any HDFS or Hadoop concept. But we have a pseudo distributed. We have a Hadoop. So for this the path is HDFS localhost. But for the fully distributed means the namespace is somewhere else. Then what is the name of the name node is HDFS name node. But we don't have any name node here. Why? We are not in a distributed manner, but we are at the standalone system at single place. HDFS property is a replication. We have to maintain minimum 3 replicas. We have to take care of that also. Standalone system is not applicable, but for a pseudo distributed system means a single system we have to maintain at least 1 copy, but for the fully distributed system we have to maintain 3 copies. MapReduce, as the MapReduce work is going to initiate by the job tracker. So at present the job tracker location is a local. If there is any local path, local host path we have to give this path along with the unique number, that is port number, and fully distributed we have to give the path along with the port number. So there are 2 properties that we set in the pseudo distributed configuration. See here. Pseudo distributed means the total data is carried in terms of the clusters in a network way. So for that file system default name is localhost. Okay. Default replication is 1. That is a single system. The commands. If you want to copy data from HDFS, if you want to copy data from local system, we can specify the path in different ways. See, for example, input, my input is input docs congle.txt. I want to copy this to where? I want to copy this to HDFS. From local to, I want to place this to HDFS. Then we have to specify the HDFS, localhost, user, Tom, Cong. Like this we have to give, or else we can give like this also. The input file from the local system you want to store to HDFS. No need to specify the local HDFS and localhost. Just use the main path, or just use a file name where you want to copy. Okay. Now you can copy from copy to local also, means from HDFS to local also you can copy. So in that case you have to specify the file from the HDFS and specify the file to local. So like that we can do some hashing methods also, MD5. Okay. So MD5 is the input file you are going to give as congle copy.txt. The output is some hashed code. It is not understandable to the user. It is a system generated one which gives some unique code to identify your data uniquely or text. The same the result2. Like this we can execute lot of commands here. So one more command is I want to make directly in the file system. At present file system is a HDFS. Like that we have to I want to list all the files, ls is a list all in the file system. So like this we have lot of other commands now which are available like as Linux and Unix. Okay, whatever commands you used to execute in the Linux and the Unix, those commands can also be executed in the Hadoop file system also. For example, cat, change group, change mode, change home, copy from local, copy to local, get merge, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, in the next session we'll learn about Java interface, how to execute the code, what is the code we required to interface with the HDFS in terms of Java. Okay, bye. Have a nice day.